just to sort of position things.
I think that the kind of makeshift bra is beautiful in itself, but like you said, it doesn't really fit in with the others have a different purpose. They have like an actual design.
This is kind of made, and it just, as you say, and we can talk about the fact why we didn't include that because of that.
Yeah, because the others have this like kind of domestic use, which is of course a thing.
There's an affinity with where the objects came from, the look of them, their purpose,
Well, it's quite
and their materials.
feminine as well, because obviously women are seen as sort of cleaning and washing up.
Oh yeah, I didn't get that. Maybe of the way they use and stuff, but like they are, forgive the pun, they are really pregnant with art, with context and art history, and you know these objects, more than that in my opinion. It's just, it has so many messages to, you know, to modernism and conceptual art and all these different artists and all that kind of stuff, that it's you know, it's really important to be aware of it and to kind of use it. And just the look of this is so different, and people will inevitably, when you look at these objects, they inevitably say, you're making a statement about art, 20th century art, as well as your own life. So you have to. Are you aware of that?
I am. Yes.
Icy, really, and so I tried to get out of there. I could hear all my friends crying and around me, and it was terrifying. I didn't know what to do. I was in great pain, and it's really panicked. I tried to get out of there.
Sort of Sarah Lucas kind of approach, and it seems like the language is different to this floor-based piece, but there are echoes between the two because of the positioning that you've got going on. So it's almost like a choice of what language you choose to actually represent, you know, your experience and stuff. So
what's your opinion on it?
Well, I sort of see this as a nurturing, which is more of a womanly thing to do, sort of nurturing, painstaking, making, doing, etc. So that's where that reflects that. Andrew just had a thought of putting them underneath those two rose hoses.
It could almost be a cruel performance where you get someone to try and mop, even though every time they squeeze out the mop, it just creates more mess. I just feel like if you are into performance, that could be a really cruel way of
Do you know, also was about, I want to say more a little bit now, it was about the futility of the domestic work. It's so stupid. You are cleaning and you have to clean again the following day. So
I think it's a reference to, you know, we've tried to pin this down to being domestic or non-domestic. I think your description, you said it about the social centre, or the, you know, reminds me of schools, you know.
It's like janitorial.
It's janitorial, yeah. So it's a kind of, and I think that following on that thing about the futility of kind of work, I think perhaps there's something very different to cleaning your own house to being a kind of low-paid kind of, you know, janitor, cleaner. I mean, it sort of makes it more potent in a way, perhaps more political as a piece. Although my first reading was to think of it as very, something that's kind of witty and kind of, it's also kind of very sort of formal reading in a way as well, I think. So, but I think that specificity of the kind of bucket it is quite important.
Lovingly made for months and months, and it's just absolutely this dead object, and you're just looking at the object and fetishizing the object. You know, with this, I get the sense of an idea of something leading towards something else, you know, so like I'm a frog jumping on lily pads, you know, and I like that about it, so.
yeah, and also when we were putting this together, the placement of it became an issue because it had to occupy an important area, and that elevation, not necessarily elevation, but it had to be very bold in the way it was placed for it to work and share the space with the other pieces. And I think it does. It's one of the pieces where it has kind of ambiguity about it. It's very direct as well, but it talks to the other pieces in the room a lot more, because I mean it almost has interesting fact as well, I think.
Have a better interpretation, but then my own things. Yeah. Anyway, if I just directly say about the what number is, that number is IP address. I mean that individual internet protocol address when you just log on the website, any website. I just collecting this from the proxy site so that all IP address is collecting from different countries. But it doesn't really matter. The number what I'm using in this work is broadly about the inhumanities. Because nowadays people just presented himself as a kind of number, information, social numbers, passport, IDs, and any kind of numbers.
Was there a decision by how many you made, or is it sort of one?
Actually, it should be more, I know. But I spent kind of 20 minutes for the one piece. It's not including the time to bake. So, doesn't really have enough time to make a much more piece.
And you were saying that each one you hand make.
Yeah.
Why did you decide that? Because not doing sort of a cast or something is what makes you decide to make it yourself?
I don't know, but I prefer that kind of way, just made by my own hand. That means just I can contain my own experience, my own kind of emotions on it. And yeah, but I can use the actual finger casting to each other piece. But what I want to say about it is not kind of realities. I mean, that's also why I'm using that white color clays. I want to look it's like somewhere between the fake and so just I made by my own hand for every piece.
So then this year I've been playing around with what else I could do and what else I could do with timings, and I wanted to get back to a more sort of object rooted or just sort of like something a bit more contained and framed, which is nice about this work. And also like what I like about timing and what I'm interested in is kind of this sort of poetics of maybe being in the right place at the right time and the sort of romanticism that's associated with that. And with this piece it's called You're Out of Touch, I'm Out of Time, which is probably more romantic-y than I intended. But it's after the Hall & Oates song, because I kind of just like, I like the idea of naming works after song titles. I do it with most of my video works, because I think it can give quite like a nice playful explanation. Not that this work needs much explanation, but I mean, really I think it's kind of nice because maybe it sets these two metronomes as a pair.
Quite interesting, you know, talking about the black and white as a texture, because you do see a lot of that analogue projectors being used in things. And really, you know, when you look at like 70s film, video work, it was used for kind of reasons because it related to military technology and all those sort of things. But now it's become a sort of textural thing. So like things like Instagram and using sepia or using projectors because they're not current technology is I think it's quite a questionable thing to well, it raises questions, but it almost using it as a sort of form of texture, and I think that in itself is quite an interesting area, you know.
Yeah. So you just like send me text message. It's like, hey, I don't know if you want to, but I booked you off for Jess's birthday. I was like, all right, thanks.
I need to try and get tickets to that show because I'm not going by myself. Can you afford tickets?
How much are they?
I'm not sure. Do you want me to find out?
Yeah, they're over like £50.
No, wait, no, they won't be over that.
Well, I originally got on the bus, but it was moving so slow that
Yeah.
to the show.
So you're speaking against kind of compatible
Good. Yeah, how did it go?
Really good.